Hey guys, what's going on? Hermdo back with you. I'd like to share this article from The Athletic talking about three Detroit Red Wings prospects, Emmett Finney, Michael Bransag Nygaard, and Axel Sandin Pelica, making the team, at least on the initial 23-man roster. Let's get into this article a little bit. It's got a lot of good info in here. When the Red Wings hit the ice for practice Monday with 23 skaters, 20-year-old seventh-round pick Emmett Finney was still skating on the top line next to Dylan Larkin and Lucas Raymond. 2024 first-round pick Michael Bransag Nygaard was on the third line with Andrew Kopp and JT Compher. And 2023 first-round pick Axel Sandin Pelica was running the second power play unit from the point and looking to be skating with Simon Edvinsson in what could be a second defensive pairing. At the time of head coach Todd McClellan's press conference, nobody was quite ready to say whether the three rookies had formally made the Red Wings, but the writing sure seemed to be on the wall. Well, they were here at practice today, so that's a real good sign for them. McClellan said, "We skated with 23 players. Obviously, we're allowed to submit our opening roster as many as 23, so that's obviously a real good sign for them. Everything they've done to this point has led to them getting this day, and we'll just take it day by day." Emmett Finney looking really, really good in the preseason, putting up points against Buffalo and Pittsburgh. Emmett Finney was a 203rd overall pick just 2 years ago. Normally a guy like that, if he even sees ice time, even at the AHL level, it's going to take years. But this guy really showed out, and as we all know, MBN, as I like to call him, Michael Bransag Nygaard, but he had 7 points in the preseason, putting him on par with like Tage Thompson and a few other really prominent skaters around the league. So these guys have really been showing out. It's really incredible. But Finney, Bransag Nygaard, and Sandin Pelica have indeed been a jolt of excitement both in the Red Wings locker room and throughout the fan base. This is an organization that has for years operated with an abundance of patience in promoting its prospects. And so for three rookies to all come in and make the initial 23-man roster speaks volumes about what they were able to accomplish over the last 30 weeks. Finney, who from the outside seemed like the longest shot of the group, was the first to start making his claim to a job. He hit the ice on Traverse City on a mission, and the sleeveless motor stood out from the very first days of camp. So yeah, very exciting stuff. This is the best I've felt about Red Wings prospects in years and years, probably since we got Mo Seider. But yeah, this is pretty crazy because the Red Wings MO for so long, especially dating back to Ken Holland, was just keep the prospects in the AHL for a few years, maybe overdevelop them a little bit. That was how the Red Wings operated for so long. But if guys who got drafted 1 or 2 years ago can crack the roster now, that's absolutely incredible. That's massive, and these guys are all outside the top, a lot of these guys were outside the first round or they were outside the top 10 picks in the first round. A lot of these guys, especially Emmett Finney, all the way into the 7th round, and he's already challenging for a spot. Now, does that mean he gets it, or does that mean he can perform at the NHL level? They seem to think so. Todd McClellan seems to have a lot of faith in these guys. It's pretty crazy. The Red Wings coaching staff put Finney in all kinds of different roles and situations throughout camp and used him in 7 of the 8 preseason games. While he didn't always score, he showed that span. He wasn't out of place, in particular that his speed, smarts, and willingness to go to tough areas could complement Larkin and Raymond. They're talking about putting him on the first line with Larkin and Raymond. That's insane. Insane for a 7th-round pick 2 years ago. What happens to James Van Riemsdyk? Well, let's see. Time will tell how long Finney's luck with Larkin and Raymond lasts at a position that feels could be ripe for experimentation even as the season begins. Veteran winger James Van Riemsdyk missed much of camp and can eventually be a candidate to see time there. Kopp and Elmer Soderblom also had looks on that top line at points this preseason. But at least Monday, it certainly looks like Finney could get his first crack. Surprising perhaps everyone but himself. I've always been a confident person. I feel like I could play at this level, Finney said. So seeing myself here definitely wasn't a surprise, but it feels good to be here. As Finney, a 7th-round pick, was at times overlooked on his way to this point. Bransag Nygaard and Sandin Pelica have gotten much more spotlight. Sandin Pelica, in particular, may be the most anticipated prospect in Red Wings' current farm system. Because of their age, the Ring's slow-moving MO with prospects and the fact that both were coming over from the SHL where they played on a larger ice sheet with more time and space. Both were expected to need some time to marinate in Grand Rapids before making a serious run at the roster. That changed, though, as the preseason went along, and both players just kept improving their readiness. So, yeah, it's really, really good news. Very exciting. We just, things keep getting better. There's still something about Albert Johansson. As recently as a week ago, I thought Albert Johansson, who was a stand-up through training camp, was a shoo-in to play with Edvinsson on Detroit's second pair, but if it's Axel Sandin Pelica instead, that pairing would come with a whole lot of puck moving and poise. It would also allow Johansson to drive a potential third pair. Again, it's too soon to say how the Red Wings will line up Thursday night, but having Axel Sandin Pelica certainly makes their blue line a lot more interesting. Moving Albert Johansson down to the third line of defensemen, Johansson showed a lot of flashes during the preseason. Pairing him up, I don't know who the other third pairing defenseman would be. Maybe Travis Hamonic, maybe Jacob Bernard Docker. I'm not sure right now, but having like a second line of Edvinsson and Sandin Pelica, that would be excellent. The first line of Moritz Seider and Ben Sherratt, as good as Moritz Seider is, he's your power play quarterback. He's the guy that takes over. He's the leader on the ice, gets a ton of ice time. Pairing him with a guy like Ben Sherratt makes me a little nervous, but definitely if guys like Johansson and Axel Sandin Pelica can challenge for spots on this defense, if they are good enough to round out this defense, that makes me feel a whole hell of a lot better. And getting rid of a guy like Justin Holl or sending him down or waiving him, whatever we did to him. And same thing with Eric Gustafsson. We don't need these guys around. We don't need these old dudes around. But yeah, so that makes me feel better about the defense. Axel Sandin Pelica is definitely making a name for himself. Emmett Finney is making a name for himself. These guys could be big parts of the offense going forward. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. You think about all the goals he scored throughout camp. He's been able to score from the distance because he's got such a heavy shot. He's talking about MBN. McClellan said he has to also find his way to the dirty areas, doesn't leave. He says he's there until the play dies. That's a sign of a fearless player, in my opinion. Of all the ways the Red Wings have need to improve in recent years, getting more offense from the right around the net amid traffic is certainly one of the most important. Detroit has been able to produce rush offense and score on the power play, but those greasy goals from the blue paint have sometimes eluded them. It could be the reason they're struggling late season games as games begin to gear up for the playoffs. Bransag Nygaard, if he sticks, should help address that thick-framed player who can both rip the puck and box out defenders. So, yeah, if these guys play that game, that kind of physical hockey, able to muscle people around, able to get open, able to make those nasty shots, that's what we need. We need more guys, more of the intangibles, so to speak. But, yeah, very exciting stuff. Yeah, I feel good about this prospect pool. 3 young prospects making their way to the initial 23-man roster. That's a huge boon for the Red Wings. That's very exciting Red Wings news. Excuse me. But, yeah, what do you guys think about it? Do you guys think that Finney is ready to go? Do you think that Michael Bransag Nygaard can, continue his success? How are we feeling about Axel Sandin Pelica? People have been singing his praises for a couple of years. We still got guys like Nat Danielson, Carter Mazur, Amadeus Lombardi. I'm excited to see those guys, too, because those guys challenge for some roster spots, getting some of these old veterans out of here. Thank God that, Yzerman didn't sign any crazy deals with these guys, no like 7-8 year deals. Most of these guys are getting shipped out in the next couple of years. A lot of the old guys, Andrew Kops, the JT Compfers and whatnot. Ben Sherratt's not going to be around much longer. But we're starting to transition to the younger guys. And as that, you lose experience, which stinks. But at the same time, you're gaining. The younger guys are getting more time on the ice. They're getting more experience out there. They're becoming more battle-tested, if you want to say that. They can fill in spots. They can be more dynamic players. They can get to parts of the ice other players struggle with. They can add a new dimension to the Red Wings offense and defense. So I think that's really good news, Very excited to see this. But let me know your thoughts. Leave a comment section in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe to Detroit Fan Forum. And I'll talk to you guys later. Go Wings.